it's time for that special event to see which European country has the strongest bot in the field and how they stand against the machine from the United Kingdom. It's going to be interesting, so let's see how the European Championships is going to go down. Europe has descended into mechanical warfare, and we're here for it. Bulldog Breed from the United Kingdom up against the reigning German Robot Wars champions Black Hole. Chinyo from Italy looking very familiar against our current reigning champions Vumitfurt from the Netherlands. Iceland and Vulture with a lifting arm and crushing beak up against the Russians, and Windsweep with a lifting arm and side skirts. And the Polish machine right with two spinning bars, the whitest machine we've seen, and Conquistador from Spain with a giant spinning flywheel. Let the European Championships begin! Representing the United Kingdom, Bulldog Breed, Flipper. Been around since Series 1 with its good drive and strong CO2 Flipper. Had a great run in the last Wars, which they sadly couldn't pull off this series. The Flipper is still as strong as it's ever been, as is the drive, but the CO2 supply is limited and the sides are the most vulnerable areas of the machine. Representing Germany, Black Hole, Spinner. They won the German series of Robot Wars and were extremely lethal. They rebuilt the machine and replaced the spinning discs with a big drum, and the machine is silver instead of black. Other than that, the machine is basically the same, flaws and all. Though, wondering if the exposed wheels are bigger than the original design or not.
Roboteers, stand by.
Bulldog Breed with the CO2 powered Flipper fighting for the United Kingdom, and for Germany, Black Hole, the reigning German Robot Wars champions with the rear wedge and their new spinning drum.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Black Hole originally using two blades on the side and already flipped by Bulldog Breed, though to no real problems. Oh, they flipped again, but they flipped themselves over self-right. But now Black Hole can come in and use that spinning drum to do some damage and spins themselves up and over, but nearly threw themselves down the pit as well. But now, to see what that new spinning drum of Black Hole can do, and it seems to be doing quite a lot because it's already damaged the front flipper of Bulldog Breed, and off goes the wheel! But Black Hole, what have you done? Look at this! As the wheel comes off, they've throwing themselves into the pit! I don't think they saw that! I don't think they could say where they were! Not with Bulldog Breed on top of them! I am not saying that was a deliberate attempt on their part, not that time! But that's what's happened, they've thrown themselves into the pit, and Bulldog Breed only just going through! Had Black Hole not thrown themselves into the pit, it'd be them going through based on all the damage they did. But that's the result. Next up, Chinyo and Vumitfurt. Representing Italy, Chinyo, Flipper Spinner. The machine actually went by a different identity in a past life, but it got sent to a scrapyard and a different team found it and took it home to transform it into a new fighting machine. And they've done a really great job at it too. The front CO2 Flipper has its power, which helps self-right, and has also added a spinning flywheel for the damage effect. Very impressive to completely restore the former Zeus machine, but think maybe should have given it thicker armor as opposed to what it has now. Representing the Netherlands, Vumitfurt, Spinner. Reigning champions of Series 3 and shockingly didn't even reach the grand finals of the All-Stars. The front wedge is low and has effectively led machines into the big spinning drum that has not only caused major damage, but even sent machines flying over the arena wall. But its speed can be quite an issue, which does tend to be a case for very quick machines, and the exposed wheels make for a juicy target for spinning blades.
Roboteers, stand by.
Chinyo! With the CO2 powered flipper and their little flywheel, as well as a rear spike, I believe they have. And Vumitfurt, reigning champions, with their lethal spinning flywheel wheel.
3, 2, 1, Activate.
That's essentially what that is. It's just a gigantic wheel. That's all that is. Call it a blade, but at the end of the day, it's just a big wheel. What are these two doing? They're just dancing around each other. Come on. Well, Junyo's getting the idea and pushing Vumadvert into the wall. And now for Vumadvert to drive into the pit. Well, that was purely stupid on their part. Black hole is an excuse. They couldn't see the pit. You had full view of it, and you collided into it. Well, that was very poor on their part. Very poor driving. Why is there a tire out on the floor? Whatever. Vumadvert's throwing themselves into the pit. They've practically thrown the competition and have basically just handed the victory to Junyo on a silver platter. Quite literally. The hell, Vumadvert? You could have won this. And you've thrown it away! Junyo's through! Next up, Vulture and Windsweep! Representing Iceland, Vulture! Crusher! I don't think I've ever read the information part of a machine's battle card and thought, yeah, that seems about right. A front crushing beak armed with a flamethrower to burn its prey, and use the lifting arm they're both attached to lift them up and topple them over. They say that the weapon can also help self-right, want to see that, but the exposed wheels might prove to be a concern going forward. Representing Russia, Windsweep, Lifter! This is now the second Russian machine we've seen on Robot Wars, a lifting arm with a fair level of reach and the side skirts make getting underneath very difficult. However, as we've seen in the past, it's not impossible. If you do want to attack this machine, then you'll have to do it from behind, which isn't as well protected.
Roboteers, stand by.
Vulture with their crushing beak and lifting arm, with a couple flamethrowers attached, I should also point out. And Windsweep with their side skirts and their front lifting blade. This is actually probably going to be rather interesting, I think.
3, 2, 1, activate.
It's not just about getting underneath your opponent, it's also about ground clearance and who has the better driving power, and Windsweep nearly saw to the end of Vulture there. Now, can Windsweep do it again? They're able to get underneath Vulture, no problem. But, you can just see there, Windsweep seems to be colliding with the floor. Now that is a worry, and that's also a worry, getting stuck on the wall. Free now. And now Vulture to come in on Windsweep. Oh, what's happened here? They've both gone up and I think they're stuck together there. Let's have a look at this again. I'm not sure what exactly it was that happened, but suddenly they both got stuck upwards, and I think one of those spikes on the side of Vulture that helps get underneath their opponents, it's stuck inside Windsweep. And from the looks of this, they clearly have the better drive than Windsweep, because they're pushing Windsweep very effectively and are very close to sending them down the bed, and do so now. Down goes Windsweep. Now how's Vulture supposed to separate themselves? Maybe just a good tug and a pull and freeze themselves now.
Cease.
Well, that was a bit of a scare for Vulture, I think. And Windsweep sadly crash out of this stage. No idea how they got stuck together though, but they did. And Windsweep couldn't out-push Vulture from that. Windsweep pushed down the pit of oblivion, and Vulture and Iceland, they're heading on through to the second round. Commiserations to Windsweep and the Russians. The machine looks pretty competent, truth be told, but they're out right now. Hope to see them again. Next up, Riot and Conquistador. Representing Poland, Riot Spinner. I think the widest machine we've actually ever had on Robot Wars, and we've had some fairly wide machines. 2 spinning bars with a strong front plate, and the width of the machine makes getting around slightly difficult. But the body is also quite small, and those rear wheels are very exposed. Representing Spain, Conquistador Spinner. Definitely did not expect to see a Spanish machine in Robot Wars. Then again, wasn't expecting to see a Maltese machine in the Commonwealth Carnage last week. A four-wheel drive silver box with a big flywheel that's almost as big as Hypnodisc's. Actually, the build seems like it was inspired by a cross of Hypnodisc and Spanner from the Extreme Destruction video game. The machine can run upside down, which is a plus, but the wheels are very exposed.
Robot ears, stand by.
Riot, the very wide machine with its two spinning bars. And Conquistador, the four-wheel drive box bot with its big spinning yellow flywheel.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Now, how is this going to work exactly, I wonder? Well, Conquistador flung into the air by Riot. So, I guess that's how it will work. Is that flywheel doing anything really to affect Riot? I don't think so, but they can out-push Riot, no problem. Conquistador pushing and holding Riot against the wall, but Riot gets away. Now, can Riot do anything to come back into this, I wonder? Probably not. And you know, I thought the wide machine would be difficult to get around to the side of, but no! Riot's width is being its downfall, but now Riot letting their blades come into play and do some form of damage, and I think that's a tire on the floor. I think that's a wheel on the floor there. Now, how is that going to affect Jesus? Riot somehow on the one have to avoid the pit, but Conquistador, not so much. They're attached to Riot. Can Riot free themselves? Yes. And Riot survives. Conquistador doesn't. They're in the pit. Out goes the Spanish. And that is such a shame, because they seemed almost on top at first, but, well, they're trying to get out of the pit. That's, all you've done is just get a tire out. That's, well done. Conquistador out into the pit. No way of coming out. They are eliminated, and it's Riot and Poland. It's Riot and Poland heading through to round 2. It's like a little final act of defiance there from Conquistador, throwing out the tire from the pit. But it doesn't change the fact that it's Conquistador going home and Riot going through to round 2. And this is how the second round looks. Riot and Poland will be taking on Vulture and Iceland. But first, it's Bulldog Breed from the United Kingdom against the Italians and Chunyo.
Robot ears, stand by.
Bulldog Breed with a CO2-powered flipper, Chunyo with their own CO2 flipper and flywheel. Two machines that, on a technicality, shouldn't really be here. Chunyo mostly shouldn't be here. They're only here because Vumitvert deliberately drove themselves into the pit and gave them the win. Bulldog Breed, however, here because Black Hole technically couldn't see the pit as they were attacking them. So, who is more deserving of the two here? Well, Bulldog Breed gets the flip on Chunyo, who's self-right. And now, Bulldog Breed up and over! And Bulldog Breed can right themselves and do so. But that little flywheel on Chunyo's going to cause problems. And they throw Bulldog Breed over again. Once again, Bulldog Breed self-right. The floor flipper goes up. Both machines go up and over. Bulldog Breed suffers the fall. And now, Chunyo thrown up and over by Bulldog Breed again. Self-right. And now Chunyo thrown again. And one final flip. And that's the end of Chunyo. Flipped out of the arena. There's no coming back from that one. Bulldog Breed stronger than Chunyo in the CO2 flipper. A stronger front wedge. Two machines that actually almost balance each other out, but Bulldog Breed came out the superior. A great run for Chunyo, but it's Chunyo heading home and Bulldog Breed heading through. And honestly, I'd like to see Chunyo back in Robot Wars. It's a pretty cool design. Bulldog Breed, they're through to the finals. Next up, Vulture and Riot.
Robot ears, stand by.
Vulture with the crushing beak, the lifting arm and the flamethrower for Iceland. And for the neighbors, Poland, Riot, the very wide machine with the 2 spinning bars, and I'm questioning, honestly, the effectiveness of them both.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
How will Riot deal with Vulture, or how will Vulture deal with Riot? Well, Vulture on the side of Riot, and holding them against the wall. They're both quick. Why are you firing the flames? For what purpose? Vulture can get around the side. Up and over goes Riot, but Riot quickly rights themselves. And now Riot, with their wheels stuck on the edge of the pit, but they get themselves away only just. Well, that's a bit of a worry. How effective are those bars, really? Oh, Riot! Once again on the edge of the pit! And that's going to cause a problem, especially the deeper they go. Vulture now on the edge, but it's Riot who falls. Riot's in the pit, and now Vulture falls in too, firing the flames again. Well, they're both in the pit, but it was Riot that fell first. Riot, the first machine to fall into the pit, followed by Vulture. It's Vulture heading through to face off against Bulldog Breed in the European Championships. Poor Riot. They did well getting here, but sadly, this is as far as they go. Commiserations to Riot and the Polish. But we do hope to see them back again someday. Poland and Riot, but that won't be today. It's Vulture and Iceland going through to the European finals to face off against Bulldog Breed, representing the United Kingdom, who will be crowned our European reigning champion.
Robot ears, stand by.
This is it, the final showdown. The United Kingdom with the Bulldog Breed and their CO2 flipper against Iceland with the Vulture, the crushing beak, the flamethrowers, the lifting arm. This to see who is our European champion.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Let us see who will be our new European champions, and Vulture immediately overturned. Now Vulture said they can right themselves and do so in spectacular fashion, I have to say. Look at this. Right at the start, Bulldog Breed throws them up and over, land on the weapon while it's already open. They try to spiral up, out, and back onto the wheels, and eventually do so the second time round. And now for Vulture to retaliate. Goes up the front of Bulldog Breed. That's a bad mistake. Ends up getting flipped over. And what you want? Try to get that in front again, and that's why you don't do it. But Bulldog Breed able to exploit the very small ground clearance on Vulture. And Vulture trying to right themselves again, and I think they're having problems. And can Bulldog Breed? Yes, they can! Out they go! That's the end of Vulture! Vulture flipped up and out the arena. Bulldog Breed, our new European reigning champions for the United Kingdom. They may not have done a great job this time around in the main competition, but they'll still be walking away from our arena with a title. Congratulations! A great run from Iceland, but it sadly comes to an end as Bulldog Breed and the UK take home the title of European champions. They may not have had the greatest run in the series, but they've managed to make up for it by claiming the championships. Hope to see the same levels of success for the next series. But until then, take care, and I'll see you next time. Farewell.